Hello everybody. I'm going to read The Boy Who Gave His Lunch Away. Joel lived a happy life down by Lake Galilee. We have a farm, he liked to say, for Mum and Dad and me. His dad grew barley, oats and wheat for baking rolls and bread. What we don't eat, we give away, was what he always said. Joel knew what father meant, for everyone needs bread. But why are some folks poor, he asked, when we are so well fed? It isn't fair at all, I know, but someday, father said, the good Messiah will be here, and he will be our king. Then there will be no rich or poor, we'll all have everything. So Joel helped his folks at work. He rose each day at 4 and washed the pots and scrubbed the pans and swept and mopped the floor. He helped his dad fill up the bags of bread to give the poor. One warm June day, a neighbour stopped to buy a loaf of bread. "I'm on my way to see the king. He's right nearby," he said. "A king?" said Joel. "Right nearby? You must be fooling me." The stranger shook his head. "I'm not. Why, people say that he is God's Messiah, here at last. Why don't you come and see?" "Is this the man named Jesus, sir?" asked father with a smile. "Because if so, my son can go and see him for a while." "The very man!" the neighbour cried. "You've heard of him, I see." "I've heard he's kind and loves the Lord. That's good enough for me." "You'd better take this lunch along, my boy," his mother said. "I've packed you up 2 fish, 5 small loaves of bread." "I won't need that," cried Joel. "Why, the king will feed the poor." But father told him, "Take it, son," as they went out the door. So up the road with lunch in hand, the two went with a smile. They soon came to a noisy crowd stretched out for half a mile. "We must be near. We'll see the king in just a little while." "That's Jesus there," a voice called out, and Joel turned to see. There stood a man as plain and poor as any man could be. He ran up close where he could see and hear what Jesus said. "Is this the king? This plain, poor man? I'm glad I brought some bread." Then Jesus spoke. His voice was strong. "Bring all the sick to me." And Joel stared as lame folk walked and blind men cried, "I see." As Joel watched, he saw the sick made whole and well and strong. Our king, a shout rose up from all who came along. Then Jesus turned and raised his hand and spoke out loud and clear, "The kingdom that God promised you, you see already here. The kingdom the Messiah brings is full of love and joy. It's like a happy dinner that a king gives for his boy." The day grew short, and someone cried, "I wish we had some bread." A man beside the teacher spoke, "How will all these folk be fed?" When Joel heard, he ran right up. "I have some bread and fish. I'll gladly share them with the crowd, if that is what you wish." "5 loaves? 2 fish for all this mob?" asked one man with a frown. But Jesus took the food and said, "Have everyone sit down." "We thank you, Father," Jesus prayed, and blessed and broke the bread. Then his disciples passed it out until all the crowd was fed. "A miracle!" somebody cried. "There's food for all to share." The helpers even gathered up 12 basketfuls to spare. "Hooray! Hooray!" the people cheered. "Shall we crown Jesus King? He'll always give us what we need and we'll have everything." But Jesus turned and hurried off. He wanted no such thing. That's the end of the story.